Welcome to Beyond the Bubble podcast, featuring monthly talks and updates on Viking men's basketball, where they're at and what they're up to.
Welcome to Beyond the Bubble podcast. I've got VCSU alum in episode 2 here, Calvin Kraft. Calvin it was a guard, shooting guard for the VCSU Vikings back in, correct me if I'm wrong, 2007 through 2011, right, Calvin?
Yep, correct. I redshirted in 2006, but then correct. 6-7 would be my first actual playing year.
And we're lucky enough to have him on campus today in our awesome studio here. I mean, we're just looking around, and Mitchell has done a great job, and we're just glad to catch him on campus. So you play on campus today. You're a high school basketball coach.
I am.
And you coach Enderlin, right?
Yep.
Enderlin out of North Dakota. And is it the Eagles?
We are the Eagles.
We are the Eagles. Bad colors, though, man.
Yeah, it is. It was my first year there. I was like, oh, boy.
Right?
I used to hate the orange. Now I have to love the orange. It took some adjusting, but I'm used to it by now.
Yeah, we don't talk about orange and black
or
orange and white very much around here, but we're very grateful to have Calvin here. The podcast is all about talking with people that are related to VCSU men's basketball or VCSU in general, and we really want to concentrate on talking with alums and their past experiences and other experiences about VCSU. And we're lucky enough to have a guy that holds a lot of records in regards to our men's basketball program on here. We'll talk about the records in a little bit,
Yep.
But I just want to start off with a couple things right now, Calvin. First off, can you talk to us a little bit about where you're from? Like, okay,
Yep.
and then we'll go kind of into like what brought you to VCSU and all those good things, and then obviously I want some good stories.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Maybe something on the bus or whatever it might have been.
Yep.
But we hope to sit down here for about half hour to 45 minutes and maybe get some really good things from you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let's talk about it. Where are you from?
I graduated from Central Cass High School, which is in Castleton, but I'm a North Dakota guy through and through. I lived in everywhere but Turtle Lake, North Dakota is where I started. Then we moved over to Central Valley, lived in Buxton and Reynolds, and we went to Mayville. It was in Cometville, but my brother graduated from Mayport CG as a Patriot.
Okay.
Mom and dad are coaches from Valley City State.
Oh.
After Mayville, my brother went and played at University of South Carolina, so we followed him.
Okay.
So we went out there for a year,
Oh.
And then he transferred back to NDSU, and so we went from Columbia, South Carolina, and we found jobs in Castleton.
Okay.
And I was an 8th grader when that happened, so we bounced around. My parents were teachers and coaches.
Sure.
We came back. We lived in Castleton then, and I went from 8th grade through senior year there, and then came to Valley City State. You know why? Kaminsky recruited me, and then obviously my parents are from here. I think my mom is in the Hall of Fame by herself. My dad was on a team on the conference championship, maybe 81 or 80. So it just kind of was in the blood, went different places, looked around, but I thought this felt like home. And so that's kind of my rundown. But North Dakota through and through, been everywhere from west to east, and 1 year out of state, but that's about it. So, but everything else is here. And, I wouldn't change anything. I loved here all 5 years that I was here because I redshirted 1 year, and wouldn't change anything at all. Loved the experience. Met a lot of good people. We still have a good friend, was a student coach, Matt Carlgard, who's in New London now. So, a lot of lifelong, friends and experiences, and loved it here.
Sure. So, okay, you said a lot there,
Yep.
which is good, and I'm trying to keep up.
Yep.
But it's all good stuff. So, South Carolina.
Yep.
So you said you followed your brother down there.
Correct.
And he was a basketball player also?
He played for the Gamecocks.
Did he really? He was a South Carolina Gamecock.
He was. So he graduated from Mayville in 1999.
Okay.
He played for Howard Pulley out of Minneapolis. It was an AAU team.
Oh, yeah. I know the Howard Pulley.
Yeah. And so he was very sought after, probably, 15 to 20 D1 offers. He was 6'7". He could shoot it.
Sure.
Athletic. He was on some really good teams at Mayville. They won 2 state titles in 96 and 97 and was there 4 times. So just he ended up choosing there. I don't know why. He liked some jet skis on his recruiting trip. I'm not sure exactly why he chose Columbia, but he did. And we stayed back 1 year. He played his freshman year down there.
Okay.
10 minutes a game or so. And so we thought, well, we're going to miss out on this. And so his sophomore year, my mom and dad said, hey, we're going to move to Columbia.
Wow.
And so that was my 7th grade year. We said, all right, we went and left Mayville, which is a place that we loved, and got down there, and he ended up transferring back on us. And then we came back to the same area and ended up in Castleton.
Sure. So let's talk about your experience in regards to that. So you probably went and saw some of those practices.
Absolutely.
You went and saw some of those games down for the Gamecocks.
Yes.
You know, how big of an impression was that on you as a basketball guy?
It was awesome. I was the ball boy for every home game.
Were you
so,
really?
Yeah. So, I mean, you talk about, back in that day, rebounding for Tayshaun Prince or Udonis Haslam or Mike Nelson.
I was just going to say some of those names, man.
100%. And so all the home games, especially in conference, a lot of out of conference, I didn't know necessarily everybody, but in conference in the SEC, being the ball boy, I had the sweeper underneath the basket, get the ref the water. But yeah, so that was awesome. Some of the good teams, Kentucky,
I was just
Keith Bogans and stuff like that. That was probably the coolest home game that I was a part of or saw.
Yeah.
And obviously the Florida was very good at that time. But every team you could think of. Those two come to mind the most. I went to a middle school called Summit Parkway, which is kind of in the neighborhood we lived at, but it was right in the middle of Columbia, and parents taught there. But yeah, just Eddie Fogler was the coach. Was the head coach when we were there. He's not coaching anymore. I think he does some media stuff. But that was a great experience, and it really cultured you and brought you. The world's big. You're from North Dakota, and you've only been in towns of. I live in towns, 800, 1,000, whatever. Yeah. And you go live there for a year. You really, it's different, but it was a fun experience.
Oh, good. I mean, so is the basketball different? Like you go from North Dakota basketball, which is Midwest basketball, through and through.
Yep.
You go down south. What did you know in regards to in regards to the changes?
Just way faster paced, more athletic. Everybody seemed older. I played I made 100 people tried out for the Summit Parkway middle school basketball team, and 12 made it, and I was fortunate enough to make it. But it was just like, I felt.
Well, we always have room for shooters, dude.
Absolutely. If you can shoot it, you're going to be on the floor. So I didn't look the part. I didn't look the part back then, and I was really short.
I still don't look the part, man. That's just never going to be there. So
correct. But no, so the main thing was everybody seemed older. You have mustaches in 8th grade. Everybody just seemed like in North Dakota, I thought I looked my age. Yeah. You get down there, it's like everybody's bigger, stronger. They kind of look older. Just because everybody's there's 400 people in your class, and so there's instead of 10 or 20, it's just different. And then obviously the college level was crazy cool to see those kind of games and be in the big arenas. I'd never really seen one before. I've been to the Bubble or the Bison Sports Arena back in the day. But I'd never seen a huge arena like that. So those are always cool to go to. And the best memory from there was South Carolina was down to
the weather, right?
The weather, correct. As Travis hit a game-winning shot against Florida down 2 as time expired, and they kind of rushed the floor, and he was actually redshirting that year and stuff like that. That's on YouTube. So the one reigning memory would be him making a shot. They were ranked number 5 at the time. Donovan was their head coach and stuff like that. So just Billy Donovan. So one awesome memory would be that.
Wow.
So it just a cool experience all around.
That's awesome, man. This is something I would never know about you.
Correct.
Honestly, until we sit down and talk about these things. I would never have in 100 years said you went to South Carolina for a year.
Yep.
I didn't know who your brother was. Maybe I should have, but the Kraft name I always know has been big in North Dakota in regards to basketball. It still is right now. I mean, there's a couple of good prospects out there. I'm not going to talk about it, but I know there's a couple of good prospects out there with the Kraft name. So, so that was 7th grade.
Yep.
Both parents are into education. Yep. You said they taught here?
No, they graduated from here.
They graduated
Dad
from
actually taught at St. Kate's, which is an elementary.
Oh, yeah. Hey, my daughter goes to St. Kate's.
There you go.
She's in preschool there right now. She gets to go back on Wednesday. I think Mom's really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I bet so.
So he taught at St. Kate's.
He did, and that was only 1 year. I think he graduated from here in 1981. Mom was still playing basketball. I think St. Kate's might have been all the way through middle school back then. But anyways, he taught there first, and then they moved all over North Dakota teaching and coaching. He was my head coach. Yep. My sister played, and she was had a success, and my mom was her coach at Central Cass, and my sister went to Morehead State and played. But it was inbred in me, and obviously coming here and being the best teaching school in the country, that was kind of cool also.
Yeah. Hey, there's some pub right there, man. Hopefully our president hears that one. But yeah, I'm not going to say the country yet, but I will Midwest, say we are the best. Yeah, in Midwest. We can do Midwest, right?
Yep.
We are the best education school in the state of North Dakota or in the Midwest.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is true, man.
100%.
I mean, they have brought up a map in regards to like at the beginning of the year all the time. They show us like how many teachers we have.
Yep.
In North Dakota alone and our placement rates. And I think Minnesota's crazy good too in regards to those things, South Dakota. And it is. I'm like, it shocks me every time they put it up there. I'm like, wow. Like, I mean, it also makes me like walk around North Dakota. Like if I go to a high school or something, I better be like on my toes.
Yep. If you're rocking that VCSU,
oh my
everybody's
Lord.
gonna know, hey, where you at?
Like where's like they know if I'm sitting here, who am I watching, or all that type
100%.
of stuff. And like I'm like, I tell my assistant, hey, no bad talk about anybody when we're sitting here, okay?
Yep, correct.
There's somebody from VCSU, like, and it's amazing. It truly is. So where are your parents now?
They live on the family ranch in Carlsbad, North Dakota, by Minot.
Okay, Carlsbad. Okay.
So they went back. My dad grew up on a ranch and farm, and they retired from teaching and coaching. Now they have a horse and some cattle, and it's kind of our getaway in Carlsbad, which is about 17 miles outside of Velva, which is another 20-some miles outside of Minot. So.
Okay.
Yep.
I think I know where that one is. I mean, we've passed it a couple times
100%.
on ways up to Minot.
Yep.
But yeah, let's move on to. What? Okay, we're kind of in the nitty and gritty now. We kind of got a little bit of your high school stuff and all that stuff. So you played at Castleton.
Played at Central Cass.
Central Cass. So that's red and white there.
Red and white, the squirrels.
The squirrels, yeah.
Yes.
So I was a gopher.
Okay, cool.
So the rodents running around, right?
Yep.
So trust me, the squirrel, that doesn't bother me one bit. That's pretty cool, actually.
Pretty rare, yeah.
The best mascot I've ever heard of, and one of my ex-players would love this if he does listen in and all those types of things, but the Galloping Ghosts.
Wow. Not even just the ghost. It said galloping in front of it.
It says Galloping Ghosts.
What the heck?
And I'm like,
that's a tough cheer.
Right?
That's a tough
cheer.
cheer.
Yeah, I think they just say go Ghosts.
Okay.
But Kakana out of Wisconsin.
Okay.
The Galloping Ghosts.
Is that a public school, a private school?
It's a public.
Really?
It's a public. It's a really big public school in Milwaukee area.
They have a logo?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a ghost just kind of running and doing that stuff. They're black. There's a little bit of orange in there, I think.
Okay.
And white.
Wow. I got to look that one up.
Yeah,
That's
Galloping
crazy.
Ghosts. And I'm like, that one does it pretty good for me. But the squirrels is definitely up there, too.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. There's only a couple in the country, I think, going back, and it's not around here. So.
Yeah. But so you had a great high school career. Let's talk about that. How much success in high school did you have?
Yep. Won lots of games. My dad was my coach. We went to state in 2005, which had been my junior year.
Okay.
And to get into state in Class B, North Dakota is kind of a big deal. It's a fun thing.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Yep.
Trust me, I hear about Class B all the time, man.
And so, it was a bigger school. Now it's really big. I graduated with 58 people, which was kind of I'm not going to say normal Class B. It was still a bigger Class B, but right now it's even way bigger than that. And so, we went to state in 2005. Sophomore year, the year before that, we lost in the region championship to the eventual second place Milner Bison. Senior year, we lost in the region semifinal to Kindred.
Okay.
But so, we were always competitive. We were right there. I loved everything about high school. Played ECI for 2 years.
There we go.
Actually, it was called Team Dakota.
Coach Mormon's loving this right now.
Yes, it was called Team Dakota. Dan Hodgson founded it in 2004.
Okay.
And I was on the original team. It wasn't even called ECI. Then the next year, between junior and senior year, he called it ECI. And we had maybe 4 or 5 teams, actually, instead of just the 2. And so we had started with 2 and went to 5, and then it bloomed into – my brother actually ran it for a couple of years, Joe Cattell. So, ended up being girls' teams and youth teams and all over. Now I'm not even sure what – is going now, but I was on the kind of the base of that, and then obviously got recruited by a few schools around the area and ended up coming here. But that was kind of my high school.
Sure, yeah. ECI still exists, man.
Yep.
We follow that program extensively through the summer.
Yep.
Spring now. I mean, you're probably
mainly it's all April, May now. Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Like it keeps on getting earlier and earlier, and as college coaches, we're okay with it, I think. But also, there's days that your wife looks at you and goes,
"Where are you going?"
Yeah, you can't be gone for 4 months straight. You just got done with season, right?
Season's over. Yep.
But we follow that program extensively. ND Attack, all the Phenom, all of that. There's a bunch of them now.
Foster, Mormon.
Yep.
Or Mauer.
Yep. All the names, man. All the names. But yeah, so there's a little love out there in the recruiting area. So
yes, 100%.
Okay, so how did your recruitment, Coach K, right? They call him Coach
K.
Yeah,
yep.
Coach Kaminsky, the previous coach before me.
Yep.
How did that process go? And just kind of say, what separated VCSU from the others, man?
The main ones. I think I visited Crookston. I visited Mayville. I might have went to Minot on a visit, and obviously I came here. But yeah, just Coach K his first year was my senior year.
Okay.
He came from Wisconsin Superior, I believe. He was at College DuPage before that. Nathan Stover was his assistant, who had been at NDSU.
I live in Nathan Stover's house.
Oh, you do, really?
Yep, I do.
Nice.
And it's funny you brought up Matt Carlgard, right?
Yep.
He's actually his dad is my landlord.
That's right. Okay, so that's right.
Yep. So that is kind of interesting, and how that all kind of wrapped around there.
You're always entwined somehow.
Right.
That's funny. And I think Stover was at NDSU. I don't know if he was the director of ops. He was something at NDSU. My brother was there.
Okay.
I'm not sure what his title was.
Oh,
but
okay.
He was there. But yeah, so actually the Mayville coach, when he recruited me, probably the second most heavily recruited at Mayville. He's now at Utah.
Oh,
Craig Smith.
Craig, yes.
Yes. So
let's not give up too much love to Mayville.
Okay,
right
no,
now.
I'm not. True. Very good point. But getting back to why I chose VCSU, I guess, and Coach K just showed interest, was always at games, steady, very to the point, and obviously he was successful before, but I just kind of felt at home, liked what he talked about and how he was. A great guy, loved the experience, and so he sold it, and it was true. I loved every minute of it here. So he was just, I remember committing. He was in Oaks, North Dakota, with 20 people in the stands, and he was up there just, it was awesome that he showed up, I thought,
Sure.
And he went the extra mile and went different places, and so it was just felt comforting.
Okay.
And he was great that way.
Yeah. Recruiting is just like, I'm not no expert in regards to this or any of that stuff. I'm not saying I'm like one of those guys, but from my experiences, it's always about relationship.
100%.
Like, you can have the best facilities and all those things, which actually those things do help.
Yep.
They do help recruiting. They do help. That first porch, like our president says, what is the front door of your university and what's the porch?
Yep.
And those things really matter when you bring kids or you bring student athletes onto campus 100%. And they're like, do they care?
Correct.
Like, do you care about what you're recruiting to and all those things? But what usually kind of sells, or what kind of like gets a kid to like say that's the one, is that extra. Hey, are you here?
Absolutely.
Are you talking to me? Are you doing these things, or what it is?
Yep.
And honestly, it also helps, in regards to whether you can figure out, does the coach even, is this the place for me, or is it just calling to call?
Absolutely. Is he actually interested? Does he actually want me being there? Does he care?
Yeah, and
100%.
And I try to do that as much as I can in regards to recruiting, because it's just like, hey, is the head coach calling you, is the assistant calling you, and all that type of stuff. I try my hardest for a little bit there, but then if you're not showing love back too, like, okay, the kid don't want to come.
Don't waste your time. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the kid doesn't want to come, and you got to show the love back too.
Absolutely.
Those types of things. And nowadays, it's a text message.
And now I was going to say that recruiting has surpassed me from X amount of years ago. 2006 is a long time ago now, but I mean the texting thing, I can't even imagine kind of how that goes. And I had a couple of players last year who got recruited. One's at Colorado and one's at Northwestern. And so
we know who those guys are.
And so like I was kind of not necessarily in the middle, but I was kind of part of it, and it's just so much different, obviously. And I can't imagine whether it's Twitter DMs or whether it's a text, whatever you guys go through. There's so many different ways to recruit. I can't imagine.
I think I missed out on a kid one time because he sent me something through Snapchat, and I was like, I haven't checked Snapchat like in 2 months.
Correct.
And so I'm like, well, coach, I sent it to you there. You know, and I'm like just
out.
send me a text message, or
something you're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how it works, and that's just it's so different. I remember when I was doing the whole with a phone.
Yes, 100%. So remember people's number. Hey, is so and so there?
Yeah,
that doesn't exist anymore.
It does not exist. It doesn't. They rather like send me an email with a YouTube video and put their phone number at the end of it and say
hey,
call
check
me.
my highlights.
Right, call.
Exactly.
That's how it goes. So,
and Twitter's a good. Obviously, Twitter. It closes the world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things you don't have to go see anymore. But they obviously in Huddle and whatever else kind of apps there are. But that's I didn't have growing up and even in the recruiting world there was no film really.
Right.
You had to go watch the guy. The film you couldn't really tell what was going on.
Right.
And so it's a good thing. Technology's awesome. Look at this. Look at this setup here.
It
so
does,
we're moving on.
It does. It helps on my gas money. Like
100%.
It does a little
Yes.
bit because it is like, honestly, sometimes the kid looks at me and says, Coach, you don't need to drive all the way out here. You know, I'll just send you the game, you know, and do that stuff. And when they say that to me, I'm really appreciative. But also there is something in going actually seeing the game.
Shaking a hand.
Well, that, and it's just like, you know, and in my mind, it's like justifying if the kid is actually what we're looking for.
Yep.
And, you know, on film, they're only about 2 inches tall.
Correct.
And then you walk on the floor and you go, whoa, he's actually 6'7",
Yep.
you know. So,
Yeah.
you know, he's legitimately 6'7".
Body language, or, you know, you can pick up some things that are on film. Just
how
by
he
being
reacts
there.
with your coach.
Exactly.
All those types of things. And, you know, those are big things. Oh, we got a little off subject there.
Yep, my bad.
No, that's not your bad. That's my bad.
Okay.
But that's just good conversation. So you decided to commit, and when'd you commit?
I graduated in 2006, so I right before the season started, or early season. So I'm talking maybe December.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't even remember.
So it was during your
exactly.
senior year?
I was during senior year.
Okay.
If my memory serves me right. Yes. Yep.
Why'd you choose that time?
I don't even know. I think I wanted to get it over with.
Yeah.
I think before kind of it was before like the heavy hitting games, before the season really got going.
Yeah.
But yeah, just get it over with. I think everybody who was going to recruit me was recruiting me, and it was kind of the time to, hey, you know, which way am I going to go? There's no changing anything, and I was who I was. So yeah, I think then and trying to get over, try to get to the state tournament, worry about high school basketball. Yeah. I'm not sure when people usually commit around now, but that was kind of a big thing for me. Just make the decision and live with it, and then, you know, go on to what I need to go on to.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how certain kids deal with it. I remember I committed to I went to a private school in the Twin Cities.
Hamlin.
Yep. Hamlin University. Go Pipes.
Yep.
But I remember like leading into like Thanksgiving, or it was like right before Thanksgiving, and we were about just ready to start practice, and I'm just like, I'm done with this, man.
Yep.
Like I don't know how people make it all the way through it, especially like the really highly recruited guys.
I know.
Like if they don't commit before their senior year, I mean, I can't imagine the distractions that are available.
And some are waiting, some are even after, right? Depending on. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's yeah. I just shake my head. And did your guy go through it last year a little bit with the Colorado
a little
stuff?
bit. He signed before the season even started.
Okay, that's
so
right.
I mean, he made his decision quite early for him. And obviously the transfer portal and the COVID year. I don't know if people kind of get scared. Hey, is my scholarship going to be there? So that was a different world that way too. And who's going to be on the team, and everybody getting that extra year and scholarships being limited. So he took that into consideration on when he signed too, which is pretty early. Yeah.
Now you're dealing with two, so you had 2 Division I athletes on your team last year.
Correct.
And that's a pretty cool thing to have as a high school basketball coach.
At a tiny school. Yeah, so it's rare.
Yeah, but we followed you guys extensively last year. I mean, I didn't make any phone calls to the guys, but maybe I should have. But I felt like Colorado was a pretty good place to go for the guy.
Yes.
But let's go into your career now at VCSU. Okay. You know, your freshman year, how did that go?
Yep. So I redshirted. I was not planning on redshirting. I maybe thought I was better than I was. I don't know. And came in, and we did a couple scrimmages, which I can't remember who we scrimmaged, but I didn't get a lot of clock. And then all of a sudden, the first game was going to come around. Sat down with Coach Kaminsky, Coach Silver, and say, hey, maybe 10 minutes, maybe, your spot guy. And I thought, well, they're like, after next year, you're probably going to be right in the lineup or playing a lot. So we kind of talked about it. I was like, yeah, might as well redshirt and get that 5th year. And I loved being here. So it was a tough year because you're going to practice and you're grinding, and then you do get nothing out of it, so to speak, but you do get a ton out of it. You get a full new year. You know what I mean? In the moment, it sucks.
It's just not immediate,
right?
It's
not at all. And you still have to do everything. And so it wasn't the funnest year in the world basketball-wise, but 100% worth it. I would do it again 100 times in a row just because of how, the next year, my playing freshman year, we were good. We were 22-8. We were the first team out of the national tournament, ranked 26, 25 got in. We got clipped in that semifinal of the DAC 10, it used to be called. And we didn't quite achieve our goal, but I played 25 minutes a game and enjoyed everything about it. So then going from there, every year was even better. And so I would have been a sophomore that year instead, and then a junior, senior, et cetera. And so my freshman year, redshirt freshman year, we were very good, played well. And then the next year we struggled a little bit. We had some injuries. I think we ended up just under 500. And then the next year after that, my junior year, we won the conference regular season.
What year was that?
2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay.
then played. We won the first round. Then we got clipped in the semifinal again.
Okay.
And we were the second team out of the national tournament after being ranked all year. And I think we ended up being 24 and 22 got in or something like that.
Yep.
Back when it was obviously 2 divisions. And then senior year, we struggled a little bit. I think we were 10 and 18 or something like that. Graduated a few. But anyway, all 4 years very awesome, very competitive. It was fun winning and losing. It didn't really, it's still great memories.
Yeah, I still hear stories about those teams.
Yeah,
like
yep.
And there's a lot of people that bring up certain names that are on those teams.
Yep.
Yours is one of the most common.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah,
I see your face every day. Do you know that? Right?
It's in the. I know that my locker room here in a couple minutes is going to be right across the door from it.
I haven't taken that one down.
Good.
They give me the options every year. I'm like, I don't think Calvin comes back every year.
Yeah,
so I don't think if taking that one down is such a good idea.
Exactly. My players come back. You're still up there,
Yeah.
coaches. Hey, I don't know.
Yeah,
still there.
No, hey, good shooters get to stay up, man.
Exactly.
That's how it works. Well, which is like, so you had a really successful career, and I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yep.
And Mitchell, if we can pull up like split the screens again, right? So I've got on my computer here, I've got our record book up, and I know Kelvin, you got one right in front of you there.
Yep.
But I'm just kind of scrolling down here.
Yeah.
Are you on the field goals made too? Or
I don't know, but I see 1,000-point score. I'm number 9, I guess, right now.
Yeah, number 9. Huh?
Yeah, I think I ended at 7. Dusky and Jaden have passed me since 11. So 2 guys.
I know Jaden's going to be listening.
Yeah.
I know he'll be like, thank you. Yeah.
He's moving up to number 2. That's
so
crazy.
yeah. So you're not on the scoring average or the field goal percentage.
Nope. Didn't make
So
enough, I guess.
Here it is. Okay, 3-point field goals made. There it is. So is this the single season ones? Yes. So I've got single season ones here. So you're 3 and 4.
Okay.
So in 09-10, you hit 97 threes.
Okay.
And then in the fourth year, this is funny. This is really funny. 10 and 11, you hit another 97.
That's right. I do remember
that.
that.
Talk about a vision of consistency, right?
You know you're going to get 97 threes out of that guy.
Right. So 09-10, you said you hit 97. The next year, you hit 97.
Yeah.
The 2 guys that are ahead of you is Austin McCullough.
Yep.
I don't know
Before me.
That was 02-03.
Yep.
And actually, that's when I went to college. So
Okay.
I don't know who that is, but hopefully we get in touch with him sometime. And then
Yep.
Sakani, a lot of guys know about Sakani.
Yes.
An All-American for
Crazy
us
good
in 12,
shooter.
13.
Yes.
But those are the only 2 ahead of you.
Yep.
So Rashad Sad, who I coached here.
Yep.
He hit 86 in 16-17. That'd been my first year.
Gotcha.
And then Sakani's on there again. Travis is on there, and Jeremy is on there. So
Yeah.
just giving a little shout out to the other guys.
Absolutely.
You got to make sure that they know it. Then I scroll down a little bit farther here, and I've got 3-point field goals attempted. Yeah, you're gonna like that one, right?
Yeah, that one's probably. I'm gonna die with that one. I bet that's a lot.
No, hey man, if coach lets you do it,
Exactly.
Right? Hey,
Absolutely.
I've told this story to a bunch of my guys. I remember walking up to my college coach
Yep.
and saying, "Hey, coach, here's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a guy that runs around off screens."
Yep.
And I'm going to shoot and shoot and shoot. And certain days it's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm talking really good. And then there's going to be days where you just want to never, ever play me again.
Get on the bench.
And I'm saying there is no medium with me. It's just always going to be that way. Okay.
And you have to accept it, right?
And you have to accept it. And we kind of found that middle ground and all that stuff. And he kind of there was, but I know how he did it. There were days in the first 10 minutes of the game, it was I wouldn't play after that.
Got it.
He's like, no, Monty.
Today's not your day.
Monty don't have it, man. Monty doesn't have it. And then there was days where I'd play 40 minutes, and he's like, Monty's got it today.
Yep, you're staying in.
Yeah, but
Funny.
so when I see the 276 attempts, I'm like, hey, he had it a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. True.
That's how I think, man. That's how I think.
And you had to play defense for Coach Kaminsky to be on the floor, so you had to learn that first, and then you got to get a little bit of freedom.
Right.
So I had to earn the freedom. Let's put it that way.
Right on. And then you're on there at number 4 also. We're 244 in 09 and 10.
Those are single season.
Those are single seasons.
Okay.
I also got free throws made. Are you on that one?
Nope. I think just free throw
percentage. Oh, there it is. Look at that bad boy. Right there. Number 1.
There you go.
Number 1. You were 74 of 82 in 10-11.
Missed 8.
Oh, okay. You talk about the misses first.
I do remember that. Yeah.
How about the 74 miss?
Yeah,
man?
exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
And it wasn't. I think the year before that I might have been just low 80s, and the year before that maybe 77. So it's just more about getting old and concentrating. I'm not sure how. It just every year kind of I got more comfortable at the line, or just they went in more. But it wasn't always that way.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That might be a tough one too.
That's 74 of 82. I don't know how many guys are going to beat that one,
tough.
man. Like that's really, really hard to do right there.
It is
74 of 82.
I think one of your somebody on your team was close. Somebody shot high 80s, I believe.
Was it Rashad?
I think it was.
Yeah, Rashad was pretty good. I'm not sure. Like, is he on here? Oh, yeah. So he's at the 89%.
Okay,
right
there you go.
Yes, he's at. Sorry, Rashad. Sorry.
And that's pretty darn good. What was this? Does it have totals on there?
It just says what year he did it. So he did shoot a lot of them that year, and we ran certain things for him. But 89%, 89 like 0.898, and you were 0.902.
So there's only a couple misses away.
Well,
probably.
yeah. Well, Jason Holland too. Like he's at 0.900.
Okay.
000, and you're at 0.902. But still, like 74 of 82. That, like, every time you missed one, some people in the gym must have went,
"Oh no,
what the heck?" Right?
I guess. Yeah.
And then but you were also the biggest one, in my opinion, is the 3-point makes, right?
Yeah.
You're God, where is that one? I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is, right there.
Yep.
Number one, 3-point, 322.
What's second?
Yeah, right?
I don't have it on here.
Yeah, what's next? And this is really impressive, Calvin. 198.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, you have almost double. It's not almost double, but it's close. Like, I mean, you kind of working up to it.
Correct.
They were 120 something less than you.
Funny. That means I play. Sometimes their JUCOs are coming, different. Obviously, being here for 4 years, playing a lot of minutes those 4 years, and then having the freedom to shoot a lot of shots. I think the total number must be in the 800s of attempts. So obviously, if you get to shoot that many times, some are gonna go in.
Yeah, but 322 field goals made, 3-point field goals made, 07 to 11.
Yep.
That's a big number. Hey, I got one of their. So there's a couple of my guys in there too. Rashad's in there, Jaden's in there, but another guy, Jalen Addison.
There you go.
I'm not sure if you saw that just the other day.
How many did he make?
He made 132 from
pretty
200,
darn good.
Yeah, 219 to 22. I'm just throwing a little love out there right now.
I gotta throw it out there.
Because he just signed a pro contract to go play over in Bosnia.
Really?
He just left 3 days ago.
So he graduated from you last year?
Yes, he was on that team last year of winning 18.
Yeah.
He was on the year previous of winning 19.
Wow.
He was our sniper, basically, left-handed guy from Milwaukee.
Sweet. And he played 3 years here or 4?
3 years, so with the COVID year.
Yep.
But Jalen was one of those guys, when you coached him, like, he would shoot, like, just outrageous, like, 3-point transition shots that you want to pull your hair out.
Yeah.
But
some would go in.
But he was his best shot.
Yeah.
Like, people would, like, look at me and they're like, why do you let him shoot that? And I'm like, because I watch him every day in practice, and he is probably better at that shot than like a standstill open 3 in the corner.
Sometimes if you think too much, it's not going to go in.
Yeah, and Jalen worked really hard at it. I mean, he's in the gym from 10 to midnight, and that's when he would like to go in there and shoot. And all of our guys that have played with him know that. And just a little more love out to another
100%.
To an alum there.
I'll throw some love. So you keep going down most assists. So it goes hand in hand. But game, season, and career, Mike York. Me and him we played the entire time.
Okay, you guys played together, yeah.
So yeah, he was my roommate freshman year. We lived together for 2 more years after that. So kind of funny that obviously to make shots, someone's got to pass you the ball.
Yeah, well, he did it a lot.
And he did it a lot. He did it a lot.
And Orlando too?
Orlando too. So Mike, Orlando, and myself are the same age.
Okay.
And so the only Mike redshirted a year too, but Orlando did not. So Orlando graduated 1 year ahead of us.
Right.
But yeah, no, that was very fun. Mike Stoneman is a good friend of mine. He's on here for something. I think he was 16th in scoring overall, but he's from Maple Valley High School right down the road, actually.
Okay.
So those guys
you still stay in touch?
100%. Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. He lives in Fargo now, actually, so kind of a big city guy. But I was the only North Dakota guy on the roster for a couple years. With him, it was us two. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
Matt Cargard would be from Litchfield, but he was a coach or student manager.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Sorby was our student coach.
He was my assistant
he's
coach.
Your assistant, and now he's in Botno.
I love Sorbster,
yeah,
man.
Botno. Yep,
he's up at Botno. He's the second-year head coach up at Dakota County.
Dakota College
at Botno.
Yep, very good guy.
And I think they're doing pretty well this year.
Yes,
I think we scrimmaged him here.
Okay.
And I haven't given him much love in regards to this yet, but
we played well.
Well, yeah, but one of the reasons we're playing zone this year.
Yep.
is because of Carl Sorby's Botno team.
Sweet.
Because
You learned some things.
We couldn't guard them man-to-man.
Yep.
And if I'm like, okay, if we're not guarding a 2-year, freshmen and sophomores in a man-to-man
How are we gonna guard
situation,
the big dogs?
how are we going to guard the really good teams
Yep.
like a Northwestern coming in and
Yep.
all those types of things? And I'm
Yep.
like, we abandoned that real quick.
Right to zone.
We went to zone really quickly. So, hey,
Thanks, Carl.
Carl's still helping out VCSU, man. Still helping us out.
That's awesome. And he's probably from right in town here, so
Yep.
that's where he came from. But just looking at the list and guys that I played with and know would be those guys.
Yep.
Brandon Beta graduated the year.
Looks like
before I came.
Mike could steal the ball, too. huh?
Mike was a defender.
Yeah.
Mike was a defender. Mike got after Ben Woodside when that was their good year.
Yeah.
We played him. So yeah, it was fun. He was always full court on the ball. Never shot a lick, but always was going for the assists and stuff.
Yeah, just going through some of there's a lot of your guys that are around. Block shots, Tyler McComb.
Tyler McCumber from Elk River.
That guy, like 07 to 11, just have block shots, and you guys have the top 2 steals leaders.
Is that Orlando and Mike?
Yeah, yep. And I mean that's big time. Now we got one of my guys in there, it's Chris Thompson, who I think he set the single season. No, he set the single game record.
For steals or
for steals in a game. I'm not sure if he did the single season one, but he had 9 versus somebody. We were playing in Waldorf, and I can't remember who against we were playing, but he had 9 in a game.
That's tough to do.
That was tough.
You're kind of pressing and stuff like that.
That helps. Yeah. We put him in the right spots.
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
We put him in the right spots.
Pat yourself on the back. There.
Yeah, there's only certain guys that can do that stuff, and he was one of them. But great stuff, man. Like I'm just looking at some stuff. Those sounds like those were great teams to watch.
Yeah, it was fun to be part of. Obviously, in the DAC 10 is a little bit different than when you were here, but you add in Black Hills,
it's a very good conference,
and you add in School of Mines and Rapid City, and then everybody else is pretty much the same. But
Now, were you on 11-12?
I was on 10-11.
So they won 30 games after.
They went to the turn. Did they miss it? They might have went to the tournament that year.
Okay. Yep.
Sakani would have played. So Sakani was he was. I'm not sure what the reason, but he redshirted the year he came here, and I was a senior on his transfer or whatever. And then the next year, and he was a dude. He just played here 2 years, but he was a dude.
Wow. No, I've heard a lot of stuff about that. Maybe someday we get him on the podcast and we talk about a little bit of his experience.
I can't remember what it was. It was a D1 Alabama something, or I can't remember where he came from.
Yeah.
It was a D1 somewhere. Really? Where he transferred from. But he had a good body and just shoot the heck out of it.
Yeah, shooting, right? Shooting,
exactly. If you can shoot it, you can play basketball.
Yeah. So, so Mitchell, you don't have to have that up there anymore if you don't want it up there. I just want to kind of get into, so the main reason that, we named it Beyond the Bubble.
Yep.
Is now, what are you doing now?
Yep. 100%.
And we've kept in touch here and there.
Yep.
You're at Enderlin. You've been a teacher there for how many years now?
So I've been at Enderlin 11 years now.
Okay.
Been a teacher kind of all the time. This is my 5th year as athletic director. And obviously I've been the head basketball coach there.
I didn't know you were athletic director now.
Yep.
So how many years have you been doing
5th year.
I really didn't know
year.
that. I'm sorry.
Yep, no problem. I still teach a couple Phi Eds.
Okay.
But then I get some other parts of the day just to be the AD, and so that's kind of a.
So you're your own boss.
A new cool, kind of. There's obviously a principal and superintendent, but absolutely.
Yeah. No, in regards to athletics.
100%.
Right?
I love, and that's the best part of the job. I love everything about it, from stocking the concession stand for the football game to scheduling the umps for the baseball. I mean, I love everything about it has been pretty cool.
Yeah, you're busy.
Yeah, and we have every sport you can think of for a small Class B school. We have everything, and so it's a 24/7 job. But yeah, it's love it there. Wife and 3 kids. Okay. We live in the country.
God, man, you just keep getting busier as I go forward. Like, I have a hard enough time with a dog and a little daughter.
And a dog, yes.
And you're an athletic director, and you have 3
kids.
3 kids,
5,
and a
3,
wife.
and 1.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. All right. How do
2 dogs and about
2 dogs.
10 chickens, 4 ducks. Live in the a hobby farmer.
Okay, we keep
hobby
on
farmer.
Going. You're just gonna make me look bad. Trista, my wife. You're not allowed to listen to this episode. Man. No.
He's busy enough.
Yeah.
You travel a lot more. Way more than we do.
So okay, let's go back. So Enderlin for 11 years, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
My first year out of Gackle, I went to a small, or out of Valley, I went to a small town called Gackle.
Okay.
Which is south of Jamestown. Central Prairie was the co-op, and taught and coached there for 1 year. Then went to Enderlin, and my 11th year there, and been there ever since.
Okay. And obviously it's going really well.
Yeah, love it there. We kind of grew roots. It's a small town. not when you go there, not sure how long you're going to be somewhere. Now it's pretty much, I got a girl in kindergarten, and wife teaches English there, Brooke. So I mean, it's just like.
So you're both educators.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And so once you start growing roots in a small town, and when you're from North Dakota, it's really hard to leave. And so it's kind of
right.
just you are what you are. You never really even.
I didn't know
look
if I would.
beyond the
I
yarn.
didn't when I first came to North Dakota.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know if I would believe that statement.
Yeah.
And like I was, coming from Minnesota,
Yeah.
all the trees and all
100%,
everything. And
yeah.
my wife is born and grew up in Bemidji, Minnesota.
So you're both Minnesotans.
Yeah, so we're both Minnesotans. So we didn't know, like, going over to North Dakota if we could make that, hop and do those things. But I truly believe that statement that you just said. Now, it is once you're here, like the people, the sunsets, the good weather in the summer, like it's just like it's unbelievable, man.
It sure
like
is.
it's one of those things that you're just like. I strongly believe that statement now.
Yep.
Once you're here, you just want to stay.
The grass isn't always greener, and it's like once you're here, like, oh, you appreciate the little things, you
Right.
appreciate whatever. And obviously, I'm from here, so I'm probably biased anyways. But just moving to a different
South
community,
Carolina.
exactly,
Yeah.
and you really, hey, things aren't that bad. And when you're
Right.
going to high school, I want to leave, or I want to go
Right.
do this, and then all of a sudden you become 35 years old, and you're like, man, I don't want to go anywhere else at all.
Right, right. I mean, we just went to Hawaii.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now,
yes.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to take the weather in Hawaii over the weather here. I'm not
Yep.
going to be that guy.
Yep.
But what I am going to say is that there is a lot of things like in Hawaii. Okay, it's a touristy area and all those things, but the cost of living
High
is like unbelievably
Yep.
insane. The amount of people.
everywhere.
Like in Honolulu, like alone, they said there was 1.6 million people on that island.
Unbelievable.
And I'm like,
There's 800,000 in the state.
yeah, right. Like North Dakota, we're all spread out,
Yeah.
and we have our own yards,
Yeah.
we have our own area. Like, don't touch that,
Exactly.
like that type of stuff. They can't do that in Hawaii.
Nope.
Like you are on top of each other, and you better be able to deal with
Yep.
people being in your personal
Crowded.
space.
Crowded.
Like that's just the way it is. Like, and that's what we're going back to. Be appreciative of what North Dakota provides to you.
And Valley City State, is,
Right?
and the small college atmosphere
Yeah.
with every opportunity you could think of. Like, you could think about going to a bigger college. You're going to miss out on some of the great relationships, people, the
Right.
connections.
And Dave Bass.
Dave,
like,
absolutely,
let's hear-
100%.
you
Dave
just-
Bass
you
was
were about
my
to
guy.
say it right
yes,
there, right?
I was. So I mean, you don't get that.
Yeah.
And Dave Bass has a granddaughter who does gymnastics, and I'll get a fist pump from him at a random high school game.
Right.
You're not going to get that at different places. So like, you're going to get hooked up. You're going to get cared for.
Right.
If you're not somewhere, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
They're going to tell you about it.
Right.
And so there's so many things that I could, in the 5 years that I've learned and gotten taught.
Right.
Just because you wouldn't get that at a bigger college.
No.
VCSU pretty much, it takes the cake that way.
Well, and you're still living it, man.
Yeah.
Like you're at a smaller high school,
Yep.
again, Class B high school.
100%. Yes.
And I'm guessing you enjoy those things too.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Enderlin sounds like a great community.
Yep, 800 people, a little bit of towns around. We're close to Lisbon. We're 50 miles or 60 miles from Fargo,
Yep.
45 miles from here.
Yep.
20 kids in a grade.
Right.
You're close enough to where you want to go get something at the mall.
Sure.
You can drive there like Valley,
Yep.
right? But you're also far enough away where you don't have to deal with the traffic and you don't want to be there anyways.
Right.
And so it's a perfect spot.
Yeah, traffic. No, me and traffic don't.
Me
work,
either.
man.
Me either.
Like I talk about getting me frustrated. And
So much time wasted in life, right?
Oh,
if you live in a city like that.
Well, that and these do too. Like you have that screen time app. Where,
I do.
Where like
I
it
don't want to
tells you-
share how much.
Right?
I don't want to. My wife will kill me.
It comes on Sundays too. Like
Yeah.
I'm like I don't not want to
Yeah.
see how long
Don't
I've
tell
been
me.
on my phone.
Don't tell me.
Right? It
Yep.
just makes me like go Ryan, you got to go find a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Like go find a book
Go
and like
shovel.
make up for
Exactly.
this right now or something
Yep.
like that. But it's so.
In your job and my job, it's you don't have to be, but you almost have to be.
It forces you.
It does.
It really does.
It
like
does.
the Twitters and
Yep.
all that
100
stuff
yep,
and how
all
kids
of it.
communicate nowadays. But
Yep.
let's go back to being an educator.
Yep.
Beyond the bubble, like what helped you at
Mhm.
VCSU
Yep.
prepare you to be, and we're not gonna like let's talk about this. Like we know education's tough.
Mhm.
Like it's tough now.
Yep.
Like I mean, I'm not saying it's harder than it was back in the 80s or 90s or 2000s or any of those things, but there are different things now. And there's more ways to communicate with an athletic director than there used to be.
Sure are.
And how has VCSU and your training,
Mm-hmm.
all those types of things helped you for what you're doing now?
I mean, everything was so specific and spot on. Like I remember education, whatever the tech, learning how to do the smart boards, right? One thing, just a detail. Okay, now I know how to do that. And the second one, going to one of Dave's class, talk about just the philosophy or what kids are going to say. Just specific things, right? And it's all very relative. So when you do get to your first year of college or second year of college, you have a good background. And then I student taught at Valley City High School, obviously placement and things like that, just getting yourself ready for exactly what's going to happen. And obviously things are going to happen off script, as you know. I know, and as years go, you kind of forget what was being taught, but like 100% of it is always spot on. Every class has a purpose, whether you thought it did or not in the moment. You're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's why I was in that class.
Right.
And so just obviously they know what they're doing, and when they put the schedule together of what you should take before you're going to be an elementary teacher, what you're going to take before you're going to be a high school science teacher, everything's relevant. And you go to my school, there's probably 10, 12 VCSU grads. You go to the school across, there might be 20. Everywhere you go into any school, whether you went to Allendale, which we did on Saturday, you're going here, everybody's got a VCSU grad. They send out those flyers. There's flags on the doors. Everybody's got the mug holder or whatever. There's something VCSU everywhere.
We all row.
We all row.
Yep.
So, I mean, you go, every school has somebody, and that's kind of cool. And obviously people across the country, too. But even in North Dakota, it's just like you always know somebody.
Yeah.
Even talk about some old 80s who are now higher up. They went to Valley, or the teachers who have been there, done that, went to Valley. Everybody's got a different perspective and different years, and now there's new kids coming in. I'm kind of getting kind of older. I've been here, been a while, so now that
you're not that old.
I'm getting close though. Yeah. I feel it some days. But there's a person coming in our school who's 22, went to Valley. They're gonna have a different perspective, of life.
Yep.
And what classes they took, but still some of the same people and the same structure, which keeps spitting out great things for North Dakota.
Yeah,
and other states, obviously.
Right on, man. Right on. So, you said a lot of good things there, and being an educator, there, like you kind of said, it's going to go off script.
Yep,
it's going to go off script, and I feel like VCSU helps you.
Yes.
Like when it goes off script. How do you handle?
You got a base to it. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Like I remember when I went through college, there were certain things that they just didn't teach me.
Yep.
And like being like a college basketball coach or any of that stuff.
Yep.
And I've had to figure those things out, and it's taken me longer at certain things.
Yep.
And I feel like VCSU does a really good job on making sure that's faster.
100%.
And like you said, there's so many resources, like so many people to reach out to, and I think that's huge.
Yep. Everybody who's somebody knows somebody from Valley City State. That's
so I'll tell my experience. I was at Bemidji State for 8 years.
Yep.
8 years, and you go to like Chicago or you go to Arizona or wherever, and they kind of look at it and say, "Where's Bemidji?" Or
don't
something.
Know what to say
Like, or whatever. But then, like, when I put on the VCSU stuff when I first came here, like I was like in Chicago or like our first year, and they're like, "Hey, I know where Valley is." I'm like, what?
Exactly. Bemidji's supposed to be a higher,
right?
Valley's
just
Valley
walking around
trends.
in Minnesota, like, and Bemidji's in Minnesota, like, and they're like, "Hey, I went to Valley City State," and I'm like, what? like it just would pop out at you, hardcore in regards to those things. Okay,
that's cool.
So you're doing great things. Being an educator, you've probably touched. You've reached a lot of kids. Your 11 years. You're probably starting to see your roots being like out in the communities and all those things, which is probably awesome to see.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about the last thing here. Let's get a good story.
Okay.
Don't hold back either, man. Like, I want to know something that happened to you in your career while you were at VCSU that you can remember, either with teammates, without teammates, or anything like that. If you can think of something that kind of like goes, that was good.
That was good. There's some things obviously you probably shouldn't share on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll make this one PG.
Okay. But no, in general, let's see here. What's a good one? It's during practice. I'm not sure who. I think it was Jackson Sussex, who was a senior when I was a freshman. Okay,
I know that name. Boyd Sussex is.
Yes.
I've been in contact with him over the last couple of years.
Yes,
that's his dad, right?
That's his dad.
And he loves basketball.
Yes, big basketball guy.
He comes to our presentation games a lot, and he does this. Like, I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic, but they do this NCAA tournament gifted away to alums and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Yep.
And so that's why I know
He
Boyd.
might, yeah. 'Cause I think Jackson lives in UND or in Grand Forks.
Grand Forks, yep.
And his wife works at UND or something like that.
Yep.
Anyways, he was here. He's a senior when I was a redshirt freshman. And we were in practice, and I'm not sure if Stover was doing a drill or if he was demonstrating something, and he came up behind him and pantsed him. And so that sticks out to me, and everybody never know how Coach Kaminsky was going to react or how he pantsed him.
Stover. For you guys that are like
assistant coach at the time.
Yeah, he's the assistant coach, but if you know Stover too, like Stover is a very, how would I say this, collected man.
1,000%. The best
very
guy
proper
ever.
man.
The nicest guy, the best guy you've
right?
ever met in
Like
your
you
life.
talk to him and you're lucky to get a vulgar word out of him.
No, correct. And that's kind of why it was maybe he did that. I'm not sure if he got pranked or told or I'm not sure if it was a bet. I have no idea why. I was the young guy on the side, but I do remember that vividly. And I'm not sure what reaction anybody got or if Kaminsky was in the gym at that time or not. But that's
I don't know how I would handle it.
Exactly.
Coach.
And obviously as years go, you have to know who you're doing and what your audience is. But that sticks out. Obviously all the bus rides and many different things. And we went to Mayville. The People Mover, I'm not sure if that still exists.
It exists.
It exists. That used to be the baby. We were in that thing 24/7.
Really?
That's what we drove everywhere.
Really?
Unless we were going somewhere fancy or a long ways away, we'd take a charter with the girls.
Yep.
But if we're going to a game just boys, we're in the People Mover.
Yeah.
We are in the People Mover.
We're about right after we get done here, I have to go jump on our bus.
Okay.
And we're gonna go jump on it. We gotta go down to St. Cloud. Well, we play in New Ulm tomorrow.
Okay.
And we're gonna stay in St. Cloud tonight because of the Midwest weather again.
Yep. And we're good here, but Minnesota's not good right now.
I'll tell you the story of my People Mover experience.
Yep.
We've only required to use it once in my time here.
Moving up.
But this is the reason why. It was my first year, and my AD, Nate Stewart at the time, who hired me here. And I said, hey, Nate, we're going to play Concordia Moorhead. Why don't you just come along, and just, see how things go and all that type of stuff. And he rode with us. We got to Buffalo, and had to get off on the Buffalo exit because it was just going. And he looked at me and he says, "Never again."
Wasn't working.
Yeah, never again. And I'm like, I agree.
We're gonna park it. Then it was parked for a while, wasn't it?
It's a really good advertisement tool right now.
Okay. Nobody uses it though.
No, I mean, we I don't have a license to drive it, so we have to have a certain person to do that and stuff. And I think those are really hard to find.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also, we just want to make sure that our teams are comfortable. We want to make sure they're comfortable and have all the things needed to be successful.
I think baseball went to Texas in that thing every year. So I mean, that thing's
Coach
been
Olney,
places. That thing's been places.
And Coach Olney's actually called me twice since we've been sitting down and talking right now, so I'm a little bit nervous.
He's got something to say.
Well, he's an assistant athletic director too.
I know.
And the Barnes County tournament's going on. I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah. Is my locker room a mess?
Yeah, is my locker room a mess? Or how do you get into the locker room or whatever, those things. But so interesting stuff, man. Hey, I'm going to have to end this, but I really, really appreciate you being our first alum.
Yes, that's cool. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and your experiences are great. Now, I'm just going to warn you, this isn't the last time.
Okay.
Okay. I want to have repeat visits.
All right. Yes.
And maybe we make this an annual thing.
You bet.
When every time you come back from Barnes County, we sit down and chat as long as we're in town.
Absolutely.
And all that type of thing. But Calvin Kraft, 07 to 11, correct?
Yep, that's exactly right.
07 to 11, had a lot of success here. Holds multiple records as we went through. Is doing great things at Enderlin. Oh, I'm sorry. How's the season going?
Not bad. Good. Our 5th game here in an hour.
Yeah. Who do you Lamar?
Standing Rock.
Standing Rock. Stanley Rock.
They won the Mandan tournament, so they're good. A team south of Bismarck. They're good.
Okay, well, we wish you the best
Got
today.
Our hands full tonight.
Yeah, I don't think that their head coach is an alum, so we'll be definitely rooting for the Enderlin.
Okay, good. Go for the
Enderlin Eagles
even
today.
Even though we're orange, yes.
And we wish you the best all the way through.
Yes, you too. I watch you guys all the time, online, etc. Keep track of you guys. It's always fun to root for me from afar. So
they're a good bunch, man.
Yes.
They're a good bunch,
Good luck
and
the rest of the
hopefully
way.
that we have we finish the year strong.
Absolutely.
So. All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you, Mitchell. Mitchell, we always got to give you a thumbs up.
Thanks,
Thank you. And Austin is helping us out with with it today. I always like to give a little love with that. Beyond the Bubble podcast, episode number 2. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Not to be stagnant and burning, images made for earning. Who are they really serving? I want big smoke, wolfing on the net, but up in person they got strep throat. Here to make a lot of threats, but they don't never step though. Yeah, I'm a believer, by my dollars feel like Creflo. They gon' say that I